to the Wild West, a place that earned its worldwide reputation for debauchery thanks to a bunch of dopey dudes running around shooting each other for no reason other than it was fun. Same thing's happening in Detroit right now, and at the car companies that are based in Detroit. Welcome the two big guns, a 505 horsepower Camaro Z28 and a 526 horsepower Mustang GT350R. There's no one around except for the sound guy and camera, and some cops. So let's go make some noise.
This is the manliest thing I've ever done in my life.
It's been a long time since I've been a Z28, and the first thing I notice is everything looks like at least a generation old, which is probably a compliment because this car is like 22 generations old. There's a lot of scratchy plastic in here that is... it's disgusting. Anyway, doesn't matter because there's an LS7 under the hood. That is how you do a V8. This isn't a big honking 7-liter American V8. Loves to rev, but it makes power everywhere. And the engine note is pure muscle car. It's just deep, throaty, and violent. It's a big car, and good God, I can't see a single thing behind me or alongside me or really in front of me. Yeah, visibility is not really one of these cars' best attributes, let's say. LS7. Putter makes torque everywhere. My initial impressions about this Camaro being a little bit old are true. I mean, the Camaro is about to go out of production, and the LS7, this engine, was introduced in 2006. This is kind of old stuff, but it's a really good reminder that there is no replacement for displacement. It is a 7-liter, 7,000 RPM, 505 horsepower V8. It defines this car, and even though there are so many good things about the Z28, the best thing is unquestionably this engine. The shifter's pretty nice, the clutch is really good. It's just a pleasure to row this thing through the gears. I would like to know exactly at what point General Motors became an authority on steering tuning, because this is really good. And this was one of GM's first ever electric steering setups. It doesn't have a lot of feedback coming through, but it's really precise and natural. That's hard to do, especially in such a big car. And it's easy to forget, this is the muscle car handling benchmark. When this thing came out, mind's blown. Had the biggest front tires ever put on a production car. Grip is absolutely huge, and it always takes me a long time, longer than I should admit, to realize I'm not actually at the limit. Other than the fact that it's like as wide as a school bus, everything about this car feels like it's ready for a racetrack. There are no excess body motions. The steering is immediate, and the brakes. But LS7, you can get into some serious trouble in this thing. It is good. good. Good, 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 good. It was a really good idea for me to get into this car first because it's a reminder that it may be going out of production, but the GT350R's target is beat this thing. It has to beat this car in handling, in acceleration, in braking, and that is a hell of a tall order. Oh yeah. All right. If you're going to spend 65, 75 grand on a muscle car, it needs to feel special. And right away, this GT350R feels really special. It has no back seat, which automatically makes me think cool. Steering wheel also has Alcantara on it, but it's got this really well done racing stripe up top. The seats, also Recaro, but a lot more supportive. No scratchy, crappy plastic. Screens with colors, a reverse camera, switches. I don't know. This car feels special, and I haven't even started the engine yet. Okay, that is loud, but there's an exhaust button to make it louder. I'm gonna get arrested driving this thing. Okay. Wow, that is loud. Are they kidding? They're kidding. Holy sh**. I have nothing to say. What can I say? Do you hear that? Kind of speechless. Don't really need to say anything because I'm just gonna let you hear the engine. Oh my God! Well, there may be a replacement for displacement and it's revs. But you didn't hear it from me because I love displacement and I am blah, blah, blah. Speechless or not, it's my job to explain the difference between the two engines. The best way for me to do that is to put both cars on the rollers. With the help of our friends here at K&N Engineering, who are the guys who make the intake for the Z28, we're going to strap these two cars to a dyno and measure their engine's output. For those of you who don't spend your nights fantasizing about graphs and curves, a dyno or dynamometer is a device that measures an engine's output. We're going to look at the charts and see the difference in how these engines deliver their power so I can explain how differently they feel on the road. Okay, this was really hot out. 104 and 105 and 106 degrees basically between the two runs. So these are not ideal conditions by any means. Okay, on the top here is the horsepower graph, and on the bottom is the torque. Green line is the Z28, red line is the Mustang GT350R. And you notice a couple things right away on the horsepower graph. First of all, the fun's over on the Z28 before the Mustang even has its horsepower peak. Mustang pulls all the way to 8,200 RPM. The Z28 sometimes will rev to 7,000, sometimes it hits its limiter a little bit early. The other big difference is this huge difference in torque between the two engines. At 2,500 RPM, for example, there's way over 100 pound-feet of torque difference between the two motors. And this is why the Z28 feels so strong down low, and the GT350R feels like nobody's home until 3,500 RPM. And then finally, when we go to the peak horsepower values, they're within 2 horsepower of each other. That is actually not a significant difference. 2 horsepower is within the noise, meaning within the variation we've seen on multiple dyno runs on these same cars. So effectively, the brakes react more quickly, and the engine actually revs up more quickly. And that, of course, is the benefit of having a flat plane V8. They respond quickly to blips of the throttle, so I can just blip the throttle and it goes. We're not talking Ferrari levels of blipability, let's say, but this is certainly better than that big V8 in the Z28. It's pretty clear the Shelby GT350R is the far better car on the road, but these cars are about more than that. They're about racetrack performance, and you cannot get close to these cars' limits on the road. So next stop is Chuckwalla Raceway, where Randy Popes can set a lap time so we can find out which one is actually quicker around a racetrack.
Chuckwalla in the desert of Southern California. Have you ever been here before?
Nope. Couldn't you tell that from my line?
Well, if I went by that, I'd think you'd never been to any track before.
Every time I get in the Z28, I'm a little bit scared of it. I have to be honest. It's just wide and big and heavy and, let's be honest, ridiculously capable.
Yeah, it's our best driver's car for 2014, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to fault when a car this big does this around a track.
It has those enormous Pirelli Trofeo tires, 305s all around.
And now, the GT350Rs are bigger.
No kidding.
Bigger, 315s instead of 305s.